Chapter 307, Endless Battles. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Phantom Lightning Whip. Jin Yeon executed a spiritual stage whip martial technique. Genuine chi flowed from her hands and wrapped around the metal long whip. The metal long whip turned into threads of lightning that twisted together and flashed towards Jang Yuochen's waist in the dark wind, catching 13 swords. At the same time, Go Shizun swung out 13 times in succession. Each sword stroke was like a wave that crashed one after another towards Jang Yuochen. The whip technique and sword chi intertwined to form a gigantic wave of attack. Jang Yuochen retreated continuously, but she still managed to catch his thigh with her whip, leaving a wound. Crackling sounds came from the wound as the blood and flesh were fried by lightning. Fortunately, the wound was not deep and did not affect his bodily movement. Jang Yuochen resisted the pain in his leg and roared, "Break!" The abyss ancient sword in his hand began to spin quickly and flew towards the metal whip. Snap! The metal whip snapped in half, one half fell to the ground. When the whip snapped, naturally its inscriptions also broke. The genuine martial arms was destroyed. It had lost all of its previous power. How is this possible? My Dragon Lightning Whip is made from Candle Dragon metal and is an 8th level genuine martial arms. How could he have broken it so easily? Jin Yeon looked at the broken whip in her hand. She lost her focus slightly for a moment. In that moment, Jang Yuochen pushed off with both feet and arched into a curve. Genuine chi flowed into his legs from his chi sea. Boom! He flew into the sky like a cannonball. His speed only began to slow slightly as he reached 70 meters. Looking down, the people on the ground appeared to be no larger than a finger. After the initial burst of speed faded, Jang Yuochen immediately executed the shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon. Using the tiny scraps of wind power in the air, his body stopped slightly before continuing upwards. No, Jang Yuochen wants to escape. Jang Tangai announced. He can't escape. Yin Shan took out 3 phoenix feather arrows and knocked them into the giant red bow. He drew the bow to its fullest extent. Upon closer examination, the flames were moving up and down the bowstring. The 3 phoenix feather arrows were like 3 phoenixes. Bang, bang, bang. As the 3 arrows flew out, there were 3 ear-splitting explosions. The power of the explosions forced Yin Shan to take 3 steps back. The arrows flew faster than the speed of sound and became 3 streaks of fire. They formed a curve, flying towards Jang Yuochen. Incredible. A man's arrow is able to surpass the speed of sound. Jang Tangai was awed. That is because Yin Shan's bow itself is already very powerful. Jin Kun explained. It is a 9th level genuine martial arms. The bowstring is made from the meridians of the 4th change in the Fish Dragon Realm Warrior. Even without arming it, just the sound of firing an empty bow is enough to kill a flying bird. Go Shizun added. Yin Shan is publicly known as the best archer in Square Commandery. He once killed a master of martial arts who was in the Heaven Realm from 50 kilometers away. Jang Yuochen will be much less agile in the air. No matter how skilled he is, he won't be able to dodge 3 phoenix feather arrows. It was at this moment that a strange thing happened right in front of their eyes. The 3 phoenix feather arrows turned together and flew past Jang Yuochen before hitting the cliff nearby. Bang, bang, bang. 3 giant booms sounded from the cliff. Each phoenix feather arrow gouged a deep hole into the cliff, causing the stone wall to shake, and dislodging giant rocks which fell to the ground below. How could this happen? Could it be that Jang Yuochen has practiced the legendary Star Shift martial technique? Jang Tangai narrowed his eyes and became lost in thought. Naturally, they did not know that Jang Yuochen had just demonstrated the power of space warps. Follow him. The 4 masters Go Shizun, Jin Yeon, Cao Lin, and Yin Shan ran together towards the stone wall and rushed to the top. Meanwhile, Jin Kun did not appear to be in a rush. He appeared to be very relaxed. He smiled coolly. Does Jang Yuochen really think he can get away by climbing the cliff? He's too naive. After Jang Yuochen dodged the 3 phoenix feather arrows, he climbed over the 100-meter high cliff and rushed into the glades. He had just run into the glades when dozens of long spears appeared, turning the forest into a forest of spears. Whoosh! Above the cliff, there was an ambush from the barbarian elephant army. There were 50 people and each was a master at the Dawn State of the Earth Realm. Each of them was dressed in black armor. They rode brute elephants as large as small mountains. The long spears they held were made from earth-core scorching iron, and each weighed 1,500 kilograms. Combining that with the strength of the brute elephant's charge, the power of each of their strikes could surpass the entire strength of a warrior at the initial stage of the heaven realm. The power of a brute elephant was already equal to that of a warrior at the initial stage of the heaven realm. The 50 members of the barbarian elephant army stood in a row like a spear array. When they attacked at the same time, it was like a rain of spears, and it forced Zhang Yuochen to back up. PHHF, Zhang Yuochen backed up to the edge of the cliff. If he took one more step back, he would fall into the abyss. The four masters were running up the cliff. They were going to reach the top soon. There is a brute elephant spear forest ahead, and masters behind. It looks like my only option is to fly across the sky. The spatial ring on Zhang Yuochen's finger gave out a pulse of light. He removed a fist-sized red iron ball from within the ring. The surface of the ball was covered in scales and had many lines of inscriptions carved into it. Zhang Yuochen injected his genuine qi into the iron ball and activated the inscriptions. In a flash, the scales on the surface of the iron ball fell off and enveloped Zhang Yuochen's fingers, wrists, arms, chest, head, and legs. Swoosh. A moment later, Zhang Yuochen's entire body was covered in a layer of red scales, and a pair of 7-meter-wide fins, like a pair of wings, appeared on his back. A 9th-level genuine martial arms, flying fish armor. Bam! A loud boom came from the top of the cliff. Zhang Yuochen flew up wearing the flying fish armor and reached the speed velocity. In a mere moment, he had flown up into the night sky. Yin Shan climbed to the top of the mountain and immediately knocked 3 phoenix feather arrows to his bow. Bang, bang, bang. 3 phoenix feather arrows shot like shooting stars across the sky towards Zhang Yuochen. After firing the 3 arrows, Yin Shan bent his bow and fired 3 more. The 6 phoenix feather arrows seemed to move together as one, drawing 6 fiery paths across the sky. Although Zhang Yuochen moved much more quickly after putting on the flying fish armor, he was considerably less agile. Using the power of space warps, he successfully dodged 5 phoenix feather arrows but was struck in the back by the 6th. Boom! Zhang Yuochen felt like he had been struck by lightning. An intense pain radiated out from the center of his back. It felt like his spine had snapped. Luckily the flying fish armor blocked 70% of the phoenix feather arrow's power. Otherwise, that one arrow would have left a bowl-sized blood hole in Zhang Yuochen. Even so, he still lost some of his center of gravity. It seemed like he would topple to the earth. No, he must continue on. If he fell to the ground, he would be at their mercy. Through sheer force of will, Zhang Yuochen clapped his hands in void space and drew on his genuine qi to correct his center of balance. Using the flying fish armor, he flew into the distance. We can't let him escape. Zhang Tangai cried out. He can't escape. Jin Kun revealed a trace of a smile. I have put down an inescapable net. It is not one that a junior could escape from. In the night sky, there came a strange noise. It sounded both like the roar of a beast and the screech of an eagle. Crash! Suddenly, lightning flashed, and thunder crashed in the clouds. The shadow of a strange bird of gigantic proportions opened its wings and flew out of the clouds. It was too dark for them to see anything clearly. They could only see that it was a giant savage bird with a wingspan that covered half the sky and dimmed the light of the moon and stars. Flying beneath the giant shadow, Zhang Yuochen looked like a tiny bug. Boom! The giant shadow extended a claw that crackled with lightning and struck towards Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen's scalp felt numb and his entire body was freezing cold. It was as if he was being enveloped in death's embrace and could not escape. Oh no, I've been completely trapped by that savage bird. Its genuine qi has imprisoned me, and I can't escape. The savage bird was at least a 4th-level superior class savage beast. When 2 warriors duelled, if their cultivations were too far apart, the stronger warrior would be able to trap the weaker with their martial arts genuine qi. This meant the weaker warrior did not even have a chance to escape. Right now, Zhang Yuochen was caught in this situation. It appeared that the giant descending claw was about to land on him. Break. Zhang Yuochen raised the Abyss Ancient Sword with great difficulty. He activated the inscriptions and swung the sword out. TCH. The Abyss Ancient Sword tore an opening into the savage bird's genuine chi. Zhang Yuochen seized the opportunity and burst through the opening. His body plummeted down and splashed into the ice-cold Tongming River. PHHHF, landing in the water, he sent up a wave meters high. Like a fish entering the ocean, Zhang Yuochen dove into the water and swam towards the bottom of the river. The wings on the flying fish Amor became two fins that sliced through the water with no resistance. Once again moving at the speed velocity, he disappeared into the dark water in a flash. Gah! The black savage bird let out an earth-shattering cry. The heaven and earth spiritual chi, affected by the savage bird's power, created a thick bolt of lightning and sent it flashing down from the heavens onto the surface of the Tongming River. The surface of the water was completely covered with lightning and emitted a cracking sound. A moment later, fish, shrimp, and turtles floated to the surface of the water in a dense group. Among them there were even some aquatic savage beasts' corpses. They had all been killed by the flash of lightning. All creatures within hundreds meters had pretty much been wiped out.